In this video, I'm going to show you how to add text. Now that I've continued developing this picture, it's coming together, and I'd like to add a little bit of writing to it. So since this is just like kind of like a dreamy kind of landscape here, I wrote down some ideas about just taking pictures and being inspired by the things that I'm around, especially when I take my dog for walks. So what I did was I just opened up a Word document, typed down some ideas, and now I'm going to Control-C to copy it, and I'm going to go up to Photoshop and select the text tool. It's really easy to find. It's the giant T right there. So it's just like adding a text box in Microsoft Word or whatever it is that you're using. So here I've got my text box. And you really want to pay attention to what's going on up here in the control panel, especially the size of your text. So here I've selected 36. In Word you might have typed it at 12 or 14 or whatever it is, but the size is definitely going to have an effect on how it looks within your image. So here I am just going to press Control-V to paste all that information, so you can see how large it is and how it's just kind of filling in that space. Here, depending on who was using it last and what font they were using might show up, but you might just go through here and just kind of come up with one you could see as it changes. You can actually see what it looks like. And so I'm just going to switch over to this one. And you can see that it didn't quite change everything. That could be interesting. You don't always have to have the exact same font. So I'm just going to try to keep it somewhat simple. And look, I found a small one. And I'm just going to change that also to that same font. If I could find it. There it is. Okay. So you can see that certain fonts get larger and smaller. You can also change the shape of where you decide to put your text if you don't want it everywhere, like here if I just want it to be behind, because I noticed earlier when I was trying things out that with the text on top of it, it really gets rid of that kite, which is one of my favorite parts about the whole picture, so I don't really want to cover that up. So I think I might just try and put it just to the side here, and maybe give myself a little bit more room to add more of that text. But I also don't really like how it's all in the foreground. Like, I kind of want these words to just kind of be floating, like I'm kind of interacting with my picture a little bit here and there. So that has to do with your layers. So once you've played around with sizes and different fonts and things like that, you can also move your layer to try to incorporate your text in an interesting way. Like, you don't always have to show everything that's on your mind, So you can always, play around with the layers and, where they are and how they're layered. So if I put Buckley in the foreground, it still looks kind of nice, and the text just kind of adds a little bit of texture, and, my viewers can read it, but it can also, just kind of leave some certain things unsaid, and, they can kind of fill in the blanks where, it's just kind of a textural addition in this sense. Another really cool thing about adding this is maybe you don't want the text to be so bold. In that way, you can change the colors up here in your control panel. You can also change something called the opacity. And the opacity is right down here, which opacity is pretty much the opposite of transparent. So if you want to, you can really kind of make your text transparent, or whatever layer actually that you're selected on, you can make it very transparent. And all you have to do is click on this, and there's little arrows that show up, and you can see as I move in one direction, the numbers change in the percentages, and so it gets more dim and it gets more bright or dark, I guess, as you kind of move back and forth. So if you just want that subtlety to be in the background, that's also kind of nice too.